Everybody, good evening. So today is one of those days that we talk about to say at times prices go down because they didn't go up. And today was one of those days because prices started out with an intention of going up. They gapped up pre-market and started moving up. And then as time went on, some things progressed in the markets that got traders backing off. So let's take a look at that. Take a look at the charts. And so pre-market, we talked about this chart here where prices were coming down near the prior lows over here. And yesterday was a down day, and you can see this gapping up above yesterday's opening price. And you can see the tail on the top. It came up to this resistance area. And we'll take a look at intraday. It started going sideways there for a bit, like it could get a bit higher. So one of my comments pre-market was, okay, here's this green day starting out. The gap up was positive. You had 2 days of holding the lows there. And the tail will be told if it can hold on to the gain and close green on the day. And if it could do that, it should follow through against the existing downtrend. And of course, that didn't happen. So let's take a look at why and what actually did happen. And one of the reasons why we thought that prices could continue higher was because this market internal gauge, this breadth internal right here, was historically, and if you go back and look at decades of information, when it reaches this level, you're really close to a tradable bounce down here below minus 300. Now, it doesn't have to happen on that day that it gets down there, but you're within a day or two usually. So now prices have made a lower low. 3,600 is going to be a big level tomorrow if it goes down there. But can it take out or retrace back up to today's high? And if it does that, if we were able to get a green day tomorrow, moving back up to today's high, that's going to be an incredibly short-term bullish pattern anyway for prices to go up into what we call a price void. Now, the other internal gauge here is sentiment. And I've been talking about over the last few days, it's surprising with breadth all the way down at these levels that there hasn't been more buying of put options, bearish bets. And so that increased today, and we got to move into these lower bands. So any move down tomorrow that could increase those bearish bets coming down to this level could set up a great intraday reversal. So the 60-minute chart, you can see, prices were up there at resistance and they couldn't get through it. And then sellers hit the bid because it didn't hold on to go up. Now let's look at the intraday time frame. Let's look at the 5-minute. So prices had been up, and I was talking in the green room here when this setup failed, this green bar here. I said, okay, this is now going to come down to this area from the prior day, what we call an end of day base. And as it came down there, it made the bounce that it was supposed to. And now we get this 3-bar reversal here with the green bar in between, and followed by this big red bar. And it's like, okay, this is going down to the gap fill at that point. Was an opportunity for scalpers to short, and it comes down into the gap fill here. And then it tried to hold. You see this stabilization there, and it didn't go up. And that was about all it was going to write. And it sent it back down to the lows. And little chopping around right here. I mentioned in the green room, okay, this is the setup for intraday bounces. And what happened is it came down, they got the wide range bar. This is where some of the traders in the room put on SPX, put spreads on the SPX, and that worked out really well. Those went out basically worthless in an hour or two. And so now, it was consolidating this bottoming tail bar right here. That was the trigger for the longs. And this bottoming tail bar right here, where it retested the low, that was where, buyers had all the opportunity to take it higher. And when that failed, basically the day was done at that point. That didn't follow through. So it was, again, one of those days that prices, because look, charts are a representation of psychology and motion. Everybody tends to look at this from the point of view of candlestick names or those that look at indicators as prices are being, oversold and they should bounce and all of that. But these charts represent what institutions and others are thinking. So they were thinking, okay, it's on its support, it should bounce. And it started to. And then when it failed, because prices are in downtrends, institutions and traders just said, you know what, it ain't happening today, sell. And then that selling just snowballed into more selling and created this day where now prices broke down the lows. But it really sets up an opportunity for prices to potentially pop right back up again here. I don't know if that'll happen, but because of where prices are, that's what I'm thinking for tomorrow. If we can get a reversal day where this triggered under these lows, and then we get a turnaround day tomorrow, it's going to be a great long opportunity again in the short term as prices are in downtrends. And so we have to give the benefit of the doubt to the downtrend, but at some point prices get extended, not oversold, they get extended. And as they get extended, it opens up the potential for a counter trend move. And even on the weekly time frame, although this is breaking down, it's here down at, this breaking this low, and often that's what happens, that it breaks the low. Oh, we'll see how this plays out. Why did this all happen today? What are some of the reasons that could explain why institutions decided to then get out? Well, in the morning, interest rates were starting to roll over a little bit. They're still in uptrends, but you see the gap down there today. And then as time went on, just looking at the charts here, as time went on, they didn't stay down. They came up into the gap fill area, and then they just continued to go up. So those bullish implications that started at the beginning of the day, they began to unravel. And as that happened, those looking at intermarket analysis and market internals just decided to just cut and run, and it just continued to feed on itself. So, looking at intraday, we do here, you see how bullish the tick was. Can go all the way up here around minus 1600. It was a great way to start the day with the pattern from the prior day, which was basing, which you can see there. Already explained, as this began to deteriorate, and then as the ticks began to move down to more bearish levels, we reading what's happening there as it unfolds throughout the day as day traders. Breadth was up at a high level, and then as this begins to roll over, and I've got a 20 simple moving average on there as a guide on the 5-minute chart, breadth began to deteriorate. This is just simply advancers minus decliners. And then the volatility index started to turn up. So when I see breadth coming down, VIX going up, ticks turning negative, you just have a scenario for markets to begin to fall apart. Now, just going back to where the markets are relative to this support area and where they have moved lower, still waiting to see if we can get a turnaround day tomorrow. Here's the daily chart, and you see breadth is still negative there, but now I'm looking to see if we can get this turn tomorrow. And if we do, I think that's going to set up at least a nice opportunity into the latter part of the week for prices to move up from here. So we'll talk about this tomorrow in MT Live, because we're going to be talking about candlestick patterns tomorrow in trending markets, which we have a downtrending market. But if you have the time, midday tomorrow, between 12 and 1 Eastern, join us for MT Live. You can go to the Master Trader website under Education. At the bottom there, you can register and join us at 12. And if you're on YouTube, you can join us there too. We'll be live at 12 o'clock, as well as we'll be reviewing the markets pre-market at 9 Eastern, as we do every single day. If you have any questions, email myself, Greg at Master Trader. And more for options question, Dan is the best one to talk to, Dan at Master Trader. So we'll talk soon. Hope you can join us tomorrow for MT Live, and let's see how the day evolves. All right. Bye-bye.